Hi, I'm Eric.
And I'm Jamie.
And I'm John.
And I'm Ryan.
We're here at Star World's Arcade, located at 1234, yes, 1234 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb, Illinois. Joining us today is Pat O'Malley, also known as Pac-Man Pat.
Hey, hi, welcome to Star World's Arcade. I'm Pat O'Malley, or as some call me, Pac-Man Pat. My business partner Glenn can't be here with us this evening because he's actually working his full-time job. What can I say about Star Worlds? What makes Star World's Arcade a unique arcade is we are almost 27 years old, which is amazing for an arcade these days. Quality is a very important thing to us on keeping our games as original as possible. We host at least 6 pinball tables on our floor at all times that are well maintained, cleaned, bulbs changed, rubber pieces, anything that needs to be done rebuilt. Video games, we don't put flat panel monitors in a Pac-Man machine, that we actually will take the time to fix the electronics on. We want to keep a game, if you played it in 1980, you can play it here in the same state, or if you were not even alive in 1980, you can actually come here and see how it really was. We are one of the last remaining coin-operated arcades. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it seems to be a lot of arcades are card-operated these days, or whatever have you, a different method, but it all started with the coin drop.
The late 1970s brought about a new form of entertainment, the video arcade, with games such as Asteroids and Avalanche. The early 80s continued this trend, with games such as Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Burger Time. These times were known as the golden age of video arcades. However, 1983 brought about the crash of video games. Arcade gaming kind of lost its luster, their clientele kind of went away. However, arcade gaming was still a major form of entertainment. The early 90s saw a spike in arcade gaming with games such as Rush and Die Hard. However, nowadays it's not the same. You don't find many arcades around, and if you're looking for classics, good luck. You only find some newer games, and at that, they're more so redemption games. This is why Pat and Glenn here at Star Wars deserve so much credit. They have an arcade that captures the essence of what an arcade really was like in the golden age. They have a true arcade.
Arcade gaming, I got into just by playing. I started out, there used to be a place out in Chicago, well it was actually near Chicago, in Bolingbrook, called Old Chicago. It was an indoor amusement park and mall, and that's one of the first arcades I can remember as a little kid playing at. I remember Pong, but I played a lot of skee-ball then and pinball. So I guess that's where it kind of started, the addiction into video games as far as arcade cabinet-wise. Home console stuff, my aunt and uncle were the in couple, and back when the Atari 2600 came out, so I made excuses on why I wanted to hang out at their house all the time, because that was actually the first big major gaming system, but you could just play all you wanted. I really got into playing the games a lot, but back then the home console stuff was a step down from the arcade, and I liked the arcade stuff so much better that my parents made me a deal that it was an offer I couldn't refuse, and I don't think they thought I was going to actually make good on it, is I had to get, I think it was at least 1A and several Bs to graduate that year, and they would buy me a video game, like an actual arcade machine. So that's how I got my first Space Invaders and my first Asteroids machine. But I had them at home, and then, well, then a couple more came in the house, like Avalanche and Wizard of War, and then I started filling the garage with more games, and eventually my parents were like, I'm sick of your friends being here. They like my mom's really good friends, but still some of my friends from back in the day, but it was getting a little thick with kids hanging out at our house all the time. So I made the joke one time that I was going to start an arcade, and I think my parents thought I was nuts. And 6 months later, I was doing all the researching, looking for the place to have the arcade in, and the zoning laws and everything, and the rest is history.
So coming to Star Worlds really is like taking a trip back to the 80s. All the games in here are really from the 80s. Take this baby Pac-Man, for instance. Here we have a perfect example of something that combined two different entertainment things in one. We have a video game, and we have pinball. And as you can see here, we have Tron, another very popular 80s title based on the very popular 80s movie Tron. Also features a very unique control scheme with this roller dial and this pistol grip. Let's take a walk over here. This here is Avalanche, Atari introduced this cabinet in 1978, and as you can see, it's one of the earliest games that was out there. But what's really interesting about this, and you can see that it kind of dates it, this coin slot is your non-traditional coin slot where you would normally take a coin sideways and enter it, but here you actually have to place it in flat and let it go to slide down. Now, the workings of Avalanche are such as this. You get a spin dial, and what you have to do is move your platforms back and forth to catch boulders falling in an avalanche. The game, as it progresses, has more and more boulders coming down faster and faster as your platforms get smaller and smaller, and becomes increasingly harder to get a high score.
We had one area over here called the Vintage Vault, but the Vintage Vault kind of spilled out into the whole arcade because so many people love the vintage, classic, retro arcade games, whatever you want to call them, that we just had to keep on going further. And the next room turned into where we had Tetris and Dr. Mario, and then I think Donkey Kong and Burger Time and Q*bert, and they all just, eventually now I put them wherever we can fit them. We try to bring some of the newer games in too, like we have a Rush and a Crazy Taxi. Who could forget Crazy Taxi? DDR, which is my favorite game right now because it's insanely addicting. But we like to see people enjoy whatever they enjoy in gaming. Pinball is really popular because you don't see well-maintained pinballs that much anymore. The video games, I always try to keep titles in that, you know, they might be something that was never a mega hit classic, but if people are here dropping their coins into the slot, that lets us know exactly whether we keep a game or not.
And just when you thought things couldn't get any better, we have this, Area 51, one of the greatest rail arcade shooters ever made, just like House of the Dead. And when you get your gun fix out of the way, why not give dancing a try with Dance Dance Revolution? This game revolutionized the dancing genre, where people just went and danced, sweat, went into competition and spent hours, and I can tell you, I did the same thing for years. And as far as just from these two games, Star World's Arcades also has other games, just like Crazy Taxi. At this end of the wing at Star World's Arcade are the pinball machines. On the far end there is Hook, Fire, Caveman, but what I really want to talk about is Gottlieb's Jet Spin. This particular machine was created in 1978, and what makes it really interesting is that this machine is what they call an electromechanical pinball machine. There are no electronics whatsoever as far as circuit boards and whatnot. What makes it really interesting is the scoreboard here, where it's like a cylindrical scoring system where it just rotates and shows you the numbers. And that right there in particular, this machine makes it very, very unique. And I've never seen anything like this at all anywhere besides here at Star World's Arcade.
There are certain games that stay here, like Burger Time and Ms. Pac-Man, but games change here weekly, daily. It's actually tomorrow, there's 2 new games coming in. There's weekly maintenance just on games that are totally working, like waxing pinballs, taking the video game screens apart to clean the monitors, and adjustments to monitors and pinballs. So it's an ongoing process. There's maintenance done around here every day. When you're here at Star World's Arcade, other than just enjoying the video games and the pinball, and we have a shuffle alley bowler machine, take some time and look at the memorabilia on the walls. That Walter Day himself, when he came to Star World's Arcade for his first time, I believe back in May, he just spent hours looking at my walls, and he told me he's never seen this much video game stuff compounded into one place. And I didn't do that on purpose, but a lot of the stuff that's on my walls, well, a lot of it I collected as a kid. And most people walk in here and they're like, I used to have that lunchbox, or I had that. And they're like, why do you still have it? most of it I collected as a kid, but like most kids, you go to school, your mom would clean your room. Well, I made sure that didn't happen. I would always box the stuff up, and I kept on just sticking it in my parents' attic. And when I finally moved out when I was like 19, 20, my mom was like, where are all these boxes coming from? I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Here at Star Worlds Arcade, we have the Star Worlds Hall of Fame, which hosts not only some of the high scores in Star Worlds, but also the world high scores. Like for instance, Steve B's Burger Time high score of 149,200 points, Darren C's 89,995 Tron score, or my personal favorite high score, my high score of 314,652 on Tetris.
And what I think sets Star Worlds apart is there's a lot of me here. It's not just the video games and the pinballs. It's a lot where people come in to play. But I think a lot of our customers have been told like to come in and talk to Glenn and I, or even like when my mom's here, certain customers want to come in and talk to her. And we do treat people with respect. You're not just a number here, or you know, a dollar amount. We actually get to know all our customers, and I think that's more of our personalities. But a lot in business. A lot of time you don't see that these days. There's the human touch is gone from so many things we do in society. That everyone wants to automate everything, and that's one thing here at Star Worlds. You'll never see a bill changer in this arcade. Never have owned one. Is I want to be able to say hello, ask someone how their day's going. You get to know people. If there was just a bill changer sitting here, there's a lot of people that are kind of on the shy side that would never even say hello. You'd never be able to get to talk to them. They would just interact with a machine. So I've never had a bill changer, just so I want to know our customers. So I think that's part of the success of Star Worlds. It's not just about the games, it's about us too. Star Worlds Arcade used to be just a bunch of teenagers hanging out, other than my mom, bossing everyone around and making sure no one was causing any problems back in the day. But now video games are not just a thing that guys do. Video games are what I see moms and dads that come in with their families, with the kids, girls, boys. But gaming, I'm glad to see, has grown, and it doesn't have boundaries of a gender, and it doesn't have a boundary of age anymore. Some parents will bring their 3-year-olds in here, and all I have to say to the older players is watch out, because I've seen some 3-year-olds play pinball like no other. That the time that they're you know, they're in their 20s, they might be the pros. But I really enjoy being the owner of Star Worlds Arcade. It takes a lot of dedication and passion to do what I do, but I can't imagine doing anything else other than what I'm doing. So please enjoy Star Worlds Arcade.
Pac-Man Pat, thank you so much for having us today.
Anytime.
We hope you've enjoyed your trip back to the 80s here.
Be sure to join us next time on
Star Worlds, an Arcadic journey.
good take, or should we do it?